All right, what's up, guys? It's Dynasty Life. Got the tripod here today. Stevie B.
It is indeed the Polish Hammer.
And you're here with the Bagua. Let's get it going, fellas.
All right, so we're here hitting you with another episode of Great and Dynasty Teams. Another team that's in one of our Dynasty leagues. If you're not familiar with the setup, as you should be by now, as Hammer says, one QB, two running backs, three wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, and we got some individual defensive players as well. So this team, just going down, heading quickly there, Josh Allen, Melvin Gordon, Edward Hillaire, Elijah Moore, Will Fuller, Kenny Galladay, Dawson Knox, Josh Gordon, couple defensive guys there. As you go down to the bench, Daniel Jones, Darrell Williams, Corey Davis, Gerald Everett, not much there on the bench. And draft capital, we got the 103, the 201, the 208, the 301, and the 309. Just got some picks there as well. Good QB, good tight end. Elijah Moore, I do like. Melvin, Clyde Edwards. I mean, we're struggling, obviously, at wide receiver here. That's the initial thought is, damn, we got no wide receivers. And our running backs, we don't know what Hillaire is, I guess. We don't know what we're going to get out of him, right?
He's a start running back. That's what he is. He's a starting running back.
He's a starting running back. So Melvin is playing again this year, so signed back, so he should be decent again as well. But obviously, we need receiver help. What else you guys see there?
Yeah. Go ahead,
Polish.
Go.
I just feel like he just needs talent on this team. You got Josh Allen. You pair him with Dawson Knox. You know what I'm saying? That's a good double dip. Clyde Edwards-Hilaire, who knows what he's going to be? I think he's going to get a little bit more work now, since I just think that offense is going to look a little bit different this year. Not necessarily those big strike plays down the field, but more of stretching drives out. Dink and dunk a little bit more. You know, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. Maybe he gets you 1,000 yards rushing, not anything more than that. But, you know, for this Dynasty league, the PPR, the half PPR, I think Clyde Edwards-Hilaire comes in probably as a RB2. Melvin Gordon is in a true split, probably going to play more of a backup role this year to Javonte Williams, because, you know, Javonte Williams showed some flashes last year. And also, he's the younger guy. You know, Melvin's only 29, and Melvin still can be productive. And even if they are in a true split, I think Melvin can give you, I don't know, running low end RB2, maybe RB3 production. If it's a good year, I think he ends up as an RB2 if it's a good year. Russell Wilson's going to do wonders for that offense in Denver. Elijah Moore was a nice, good young receiver staple. I like him in slot for the Jets. I think he's going to come along. But other than that, he needs talent, and his Josh Gordon's probably not going to play. And that's where the picks come in. He has the 103. He has the first pick in the second round. He comes away with the 8th pick in the second round. Well, he has 2 second-round picks, 2 third-round picks, and a top 3 first-round pick. So I think if he hits on his picks up, has a good draft, maybe not next year, but the year after that, he can start to, you know, try and win some games. As of right now, his only bargaining chip is Josh Allen. If you wanted to make a trade and you just ask for the world and fill out your squad. But I feel like this is Dynasty. You don't have to panic. You always have next year. And he has a bunch of picks. And if he drafts right, he could get himself out of this hole. And just, you know, full disclosure, this is one of the, you know, least experienced GMs that we have in the league. And He dealt with a bunch of injuries last year and a bunch of disappointment. Kenny Galladay didn't take off for him. He had Shep. He had a lot of guys injured. So in the middle of the season, he just decided to grab some picks and stockpile some picks. So he's learning in that aspect. And what's to say about this team? It's just he just needs talent. Like you said, Blanc, the wide receiver position is poor. I mean, he can get some work out of Elijah Moore. Kenny Galladay, even when he was hurt and things like that in Detroit, he just seemed always to be 1,000-yard receiver. Am I wrong? Like he'd miss 4 games, he still get 1,000 yards, and he'll still have 8 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns. If he can get that out of Kenny Galladay, I think that'll be, a blessing for him. But you just don't know because the Giants are just so bad. And I don't think they're horrible. And I don't think as long as Daniel Jones is there, it's not going to get any better. I mean, I like the new regime they brought in, but Kenny Galladay is a wait and see thing on if he can return to form like he was in Detroit. But needs wide receiver help. To me, the thing he needs is just talent. Go with the best player available, even if it's wide receivers, running backs, whatever's on the board. Hopefully he hits on his picks, and maybe not next year, but the following year he'd probably be ready to challenge.
Yeah, Hammer, what do you think? What do you think so far?
Yeah, Bagala pretty much said everything there is to be said about this team. I think there are a couple of interesting pieces. Josh Allen obviously is a foundational piece, and not too many teams have a guy that you look at and scares you to death. Josh Allen is one of those guys. So from that perspective, I know we talked about this team before, a little bit off the record too, and we're like, maybe you should trade him for Josh Allen and fill out the rest of his roster. But I think Bagala brings up a good point in terms of it's dynasty, so don't panic. If you got one of those foundational, go out and get 35, 40 a game kind of guys, and Josh Allen is a needle mover, so you don't want to kind of give up on that kind of piece. Instead, you just build around it, and I think that's the right way to go with this team. The draft capital is tremendous. Can he go out and turn that draft capital into a primetime receiver? It's possible. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some teams out there with his draft capital that you might be able to go get a fringe wide receiver 2, low end wide receiver 1, if somebody's willing to move off that for some draft capital.
I mean, if you're giving up that 103, you should be able to get a wide receiver 1.
That's what I'm saying. So, and maybe package that with a Kenny Galladay if somebody sees some upside. I don't think Kenny Galladay has much value, but you never know. You know what I mean? So I think really that's his only movable chips that'll get him something in return in terms of a high-end wide receiver 2, low-end wide receiver 1. If I was this team, I would maybe package Dawson Knox and that 103 and see if I can prize Stephon Diggs and build around that. I know Diggs is a little bit older, so going in with the 103, who are you looking at? Drake London,
Treylon Burks,
Chris Olave. He's really going to have Garrett Wilson. He's really going to have his pick of who he wants outside of maybe Breece Hall and another one of those guys. So the pick of the litter is essentially going to be there at the 103. So I think he's in a really good position to add to this team without having to pillage any of his really good parts, which of one, he only really has one in Josh Allen. But I do think Elijah Moore is pretty good. If Zach Wilson could take the next step, Elijah Moore could be a wide receiver too.
Moore showed flashes last year. Out of the slot, he's shifty. He can break tackles in the open field. He showed flashes. He had the injury, last year. He missed a few games, so he's going to have to stay healthy. But
Kenny Galladay has to be really one of those frustrating guys that you look at and you're like, just damn, dude, if you could just be 80% of what we expect, I'm getting wide receiver 2 production, whether it's mid-tier, low-end wide receiver 2 production. That'll still work on this team. So
And
Kenny
that's what he's been his entire career. He'll miss some games. He'll get you just over 1,000 yards with 8 touchdowns. He's a wide receiver 2. The only thing that's killing Galladay, it was the Giants' offense last year. That's what killed.
But now what's killing him? The only thing that was killing him in Detroit was a little bit of an injury bug. But now what's killing him in New York is a little bit of an injury bug and terrible quarterback play. So that's devaluing. Bro, you can't even really count on him for flex production at this point.
No, you have to it's basically with Kenny Galladay. It's a season-on-season basis. You got to go into the season
and not expect anything.
Exactly, and see what it gives you.
Dude, if I play 14 games and I see 76 targets and I don't catch 50% of those targets with no touchdowns, that doesn't scream confidence at all.
No, and you can't say, that's not all his fault. I'm sorry,
No, but there could be more than one thing could be true at the same time. I think there's a lack of stability at the quarterback position, and he does have a little bit of an injury history. So it's all those things come together and create that perfect storm of I can't rely on this guy. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Galladay has any value. I don't think you can move him for absolutely anything.
Zero. And so, there's so many holes, like Will Fuller, Josh Gordon.
Yeah. I mean, just honestly, Galladay's best days are behind him at this point. I don't think he can return into any kind of shape or form what he did on, the Lions. So, so he's just done. Melvin Gordon is another one. He doesn't really have much value. I think I'm with you, Hammer. The pieces he could build around is Allen and Knox. I don't think you'll get enough for Knox to move him. If you can get a first for him, take it. But otherwise, I think I'll keep Allen and Knox, and I'll try and trade everyone else. Wait for Elijah Moore to have a big game. Try and move him for a next year first-round pick. Same thing with Hillaire. Edwards Hillaire. Trade him as soon as he does something. I would just try and stockpile picks. And you're not winning now or next year. So get rid of these guys at the highest point of value that they have and just, you just have to rebuild. I mean, you got the 103. So, yeah, that could be Drake London. It could be Kenneth Walker. It could be Wilson. I mean, I think I'd just go receiver for this team for now. Anyway, just with the running backs that are in the next year's class, I think I'd rather spend the pick on a receiver because he's not getting Breece Hall. So, then he has the 201 and the 208. He can try and take a chance there, or maybe he packages that into a next year first or something like that. Maybe on the clock, there's a team that wants somebody in one of those slots, just try and get something out of that. But yeah, I think really all you can do is try and stockpile some picks on what you have, whenever they're most valuable, because he doesn't have much that's of value right now.
Well, he has stockpiled picks.
Yeah, for this year, he's done a good job.
Last year,
for next year, yeah.
Last year he didn't. He traded away his first round pick because he got demolished by injuries and he had no receivers to play. So he traded, and then at the end of the year, trade deadline comes around. He's able to get the 103 back. He has 2 in the second, 2 in the third. Both originally his original picks are both high picks in those rounds.
It's the first pick overall in those rounds.
Exactly.
Second and third.
So he could go and say, you know what, I like Garrett Wilson, or I like Drake London at the 103. Take one of them, swing back in the second round. A good pick for him at the 201 spot. Perfect pick, James Cook.
I knew he was going to say that.
That's a perfect pick for him. It is. He has Josh Allen. The running back, he probably went into the best situation that a running back can go to on a good team. You understand? His strong suit is catching the ball. Guess what? They throw the ball, and then you can come back down around the 208 or something like that, and you can swipe up another wide receiver, say maybe a Alex Pierce or
Yeah,
a
Tolbert.
Tolbert,
Mhm.
a Tolbert, something like that. And then in the third round, he can come back around and see if he can hit on those later picks. Also, there's a lot of later picks, later guys that you can pick, and he just has to hit them. So he has a lot of capital. He has 5 picks in a 3-round draft. So
The key though, he has to hit that 103. That 103 pick, if it's a wide receiver, has to turn into a wide receiver 1 in 2 years.
yeah, because regardless of what,
I mean, it depends who he goes with, but whether it's London or Wilson, I mean, they have the draft capital
Yeah.
to, a high percentage of those guys hit. So,
And also too, keep in mind, if he's not really going to be that good this year, he'll probably be somewhere in the top 3 to 4 next year, depending on how everything shakes out. So those are going to be some high picks we anticipate anyway next season. So there should be even more capital to work with there. And if he, like you said, Blanc, if he's smart and he starts off 2-5, whatever the case may be, but say, Melvin Gordon, say Javonte Williams gets hurt, can he move a Melvin Gordon to the team that has Javonte Williams and get some more draft capital? Really pillage for some draft capital and take advantage of a good situation like that. So he really has to be really be on his P's and Q's in terms of scouting the league to see what people need and be able to maximize whatever value.
Let me ask y'all this. At the 103, okay, Breece Hall, let's say, goes at the 101.
Yep.
And let's say Drake London goes at the 102, okay? What would you do now if you're up at the 103 now with this team?
It's either Treylon Burks or Garrett Wilson.
Okay. Hammer, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing with Garrett Wilson, the Jets scare me, man. The Jets scare me because I don't know what it looks like is going to be a good situation. It would be Treylon Burks for me just because the situation's a little more stable, more than Garrett Wilson at this particular moment in time. So I feel more comfortable with Treylon Burks. You can't really go wrong either way because they both should be good, but I would go with Burks at the 103.
Now, I don't know if y'all saw, did you see the video of Treylon Burks where he's like
breathing?
That's so nothing.
Obviously, we don't know what that is. Now, what does?
No, that's nothing. That's him not working out for months and then finally getting a training camp and the coaches putting him through an extreme work. That's not easy. It's not easy.
In some of these training camps, it's hot as you know what out there. So
and it's definitely not easy for you to be. And think about it. You're a rookie. You just got drafted. He going to top 15? Like you're celebrating. You haven't been really working out as much as you should. This is the time of your life. You worked all your life to get here. You just want to celebrate for a little bit. So you forget about your workouts. You're running around doing press, doing media, meeting people. You really don't have that time to work out. Then boom, mini camp. You know what I'm saying? Or OTAs, and you got to get in there. And you're just not in the best shape that you should be. I think we saw a lot of that with Jamar Chase last year in the preseason. He couldn't catch a cold in the wintertime. You know what I'm saying? Last year in the preseason, he wasn't focused. The season came around, he got focused. Look what he did. Now he had Joe Burrow, but that's nothing. I think Treylon Burks is going to be at least a decent player. For me, if I'm taking somebody, I'm taking Garrett Wilson. He plays bigger than he is. He goes up and gets the ball. He can run routes smooth and crisp. You know what I'm saying? He's not as physically intimidating as Burks, but I just think he's a better receiver.
I mean, I like both of them, but even with Burks, we don't know what the QB situation is going to be like after this year, and then we just don't know. But anyway, for me, I really like Brees Hall, and Drake London. I wouldn't be opposed to trading this pick here for some next year capital also.
No.
Because if you could if you got the 103,
It's a waste.
No, it's not a waste. Because if you
What are you
give up the
getting?
103 and get 2 first-round picks of next year, or if you can get a first-round pick next year and a first-round pick for the year after for somebody, it's just building up the capital, right? Next year's draft class is supposed to be really good too, and if
you already got top guys right there. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like
there's better prospects next year than these guys. After Drake London, I wouldn't be opposed to, because I'm not winning.
Also, what you're
getting somebody else, or getting more draft capital, getting more value, right?
It's not a terrible strategy, but also what you're doing is you're setting yourself back from another year of development, another year of production, another year of whatever. So it really depends on what you value. It really depends on what you value more. You know what I mean? But I would, if I have the 103, I'm keeping it unless I get blown away, unless I get, and also too, if you're trading away the 103 at this particular point for 2 future first round picks, you don't know what those picks are going to be.
No,
of course not. You don't, but you're going to still be in the bottom, so you're going to have yours, and then you're going to have the other ones. And now, no matter what they are, they're still going to be valuable, right? As the drafts get closer, they're more and more valuable. People want them more and more. It just gives you more opportunities to make moves, right? So
but you have
it just depends on who you like. For me, there's some next year wide receiver prospects that blow these wide receiver prospects out the water right after it comes to Drake London. I'm just not a huge fan of the Jets. I don't know what's going to happen there. Elijah Moore is there too. I don't know. Garrett Wilson is a great prospect, but who knows? It just depends on who you like, and everybody is different. Everybody wants their guys. But for me, I wouldn't be opposed to trading. I'm not saying I would, but target a team that's also bad that might want to move up and get something in this draft as well, right? I'm not saying go target the best team and you're getting a back end picks out of it, but just to try and build value, see what you can get. You don't have to trade it, but you can always see what you can get.
It makes sense. I think it makes more sense if you were an actual GM, like in the real NFL. But from this perspective, if I'm trading a 103, I'm getting impact talent right now. Like I'm trading for a guy that is a proven wide receiver, fringe wide receiver 1. If I'm moving a draft pick for other draft picks that are unknown, I'm getting proven talent that I'm going to be able to cash in right now.
So we know that Garrett Wilson is going to be a wide receiver 1. We don't know that.
No, but what I'm saying,
who's in the best position too? Burks is in the best position, of course, and also Drake London. But if Drake London is off the boards and you don't like Burks as much and you don't like Wilson, there's a huge drop off kind of after those guys, right? So
I don't think there's a huge drop off though, because Jameson Williams, say what you want about London and all of these guys. If Jameson Williams doesn't tear his ACL in the national championship game, he's the best wide receiver in this class. I don't want to hear Drake London. If Jameson Williams is healthy, he is the best wide receiver in this class. We've all seen it. I know I've seen it. We've had a whole season to see it. So he could even go that way. I just feel like he has the capital right now. There's no reason to push it back.
And next year there's supposed to be a bunch of running backs. So now you're talking about a bunch of running backs and a bunch of receivers. And you can pick up 2 extra picks in that draft, even if they're number 5, number 6, number 7. Those are still going to be top guys, and I think we're going to see that as we get closer.
Yeah, but Steve, he's still
going to be way more guys to go.
He still may have a top 5 pick next year. You
exactly.
Understand what I'm saying? So the thing of that is that you take the talent now. Since you have all of this capital, you use this capital because you never know.
You can, but you could always try and get more capital. And that's what I'm saying as I'm listening to offers, because if I can get 2 next year first, and then I'm going to have 3 next year first going into next year, and one of them is going to be guaranteed top 3 because my team sucks.
Yeah, but
You know,
Steve, if you keep moving back and moving back and moving back and moving back, like Polish said, setting yourself back years, when is the
you're
time to
moving
go
back
and
and
win?
moving back. You're talking about one more year, and you've only got Josh Allen and Dawson Knox, and you've got that for the next 10 years. So you got plenty of time to try and get the guys, that you want. But again, it's all, particular to, how you scout or what you're looking at. If you're looking at guys this year, looking at guys next year, if you want running backs, if you want wide receivers. So, it all depends. It's just a
Yeah,
thought. I'm just saying I would listen to offers. I'm not saying I definitely do it, but if there's something there that, moves the needle for me, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
yeah, but if I'm giving up the 103, like Polish said, I want a wide receiver one right now, like immediately. I mean,
So you
tomorrow.
get that next
You
year.
know,
You got
ahora,
to
like
see.
now. You know what I'm saying? So, and so for him, I don't know if it was me. I'm using all of my draft capital that I had this year. I'm trying to hit on some big picks. You know, the 103, the 201. He's gonna be playing these rookies anyway. He's not gonna he doesn't have better options. You understand what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So he's gonna have to pick them and slot them in right away. So at least those first two picks.
Yeah, so he's just got to make some moves. He's got to just trade everybody except for Knox and Allen, see whatever he can get during the season.
I like your idea. I take the picks and then I start like during the season. Polish said it. I'm watching the layout, watching how the season goes. Javante goes down, he gets hurt. Hey, I got Melvin Gordon for a second round pick. I'm gonna try and stretch it for a first because people are gonna be desperate, But I would take a second round pick for Melvin Gordon. You know what I'm saying? Clyde Edwards-Hilaire. If he's shaky, I'll wait till he puts together a stretch of games and I trade him. If he's stable all year, I'll keep Clyde Edwards-Hilaire. But like you said, I'll wait until trade deadline, midseason, seeing what these guys do. Then I'll start selling some of this old talent off. You know what I'm saying? But all of these 5 picks in a 3-round draft, I'm taking all of these picks and I'm seeing if I can make something work.
Yeah. So I guess we can all agree he's got this draft capital that he's got to hit on and try and move some of these guys during the season when they start going off. But getting to grade this team, I guess we started with you, Bogala, last time. Hammer, what are we grading this team here?
I was gonna go C- just because there's so much work to be done on this team, but after looking at the draft capital, I'm gonna go with a C, just because the draft capital is there, and as Bagala said, having 5 picks in a 3-round draft is huge, and that 103 and that 201, he's gonna get some talent there. So if that talent starts hitting on the back half of the season, as we see with a lot of these rookies, I know we talked about in some of our previous episodes about a lot of these rookies really breaking through after that week 9, week 10, around Thanksgiving, going into the new year. That's when you really start to see what your rookies are made of. So I'll go with a C overall, just because of the draft capital, and Josh Allen's a needle mover. So he has a good foundational piece that can really drag a mediocre team if he gets there into the playoffs.
Yeah, I feel you. Bagala, what are we doing? What you got?
Yeah, I'm right with the hammer right here. It's a C for me because of the moves made in the middle of the season, getting the draft capital. He has a surplus of picks. And then Josh Allen is his foundation with Dawson Knox, and I like Elijah Moore as a young receiver. So it's definitely, this is a C for me, and it could turn around quick if his draft works out pretty good. You can see this team turn around pretty quick, but those first 2 picks are going to be crucial for him to even be a little bit competitive next year. He has to hit on his first 2 picks.
Yeah,
so it's a C.
I'm right. I'm going with Hammer's initial thought of C-, and the reason why is just because there's not as much value to freaking try and trade away or get back like in return.
There's a lot of ifs, right? Like
there's a
if this
lot of
guy
ifs,
plays well, if this guy.
Other than Elijah Moore, there's not much value that you can trade anybody for, and even now, like with Garrett Wilson being drafted, like people are a little bit down on Elijah Moore, not saying that I necessarily agree with that, but it's just how the dynasty community just is feeling right now, until something happens. So, same thing with Edwards Hillaire, he's just not worth much right now. People don't believe in him. People are sick of him. We've been waiting and waiting for this guy to explode, and it just hasn't happened. And so what can you get from right now? So we gotta wait. We gotta wait and see. I do like the draft capital, but he does have one first round pick. He's got the seconds and the thirds, but those are hard to hit. And even if they do, I don't really see any like wide receiver ones coming out of there. But I do like that he has the 103. So I'm going to give him a C- for now. We got to see obviously what he does with the picks and what he needs to hit. But he needs help in just every single position, and that's why I'm at the C-. I can't go lower than that because he does have Josh Allen and he's got Knox. So those are good pieces to just build around. Now he's just got to try and sell everything for what he can and try and build up the rest. Fill out the rest of that team. But at least you don't got to worry about a QB and. He's good on the tight end right now, so yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that at the C-.
He's good at one wide receiver spot. Maybe Elijah Moore's maybe turned into a wide receiver 2, or somebody that I think Elijah Moore's gonna give him some good points this year.
He came on late in the season as
he did, and then he had the injury. So.
And that's what I was talking about when I said a lot of those young rookie wide receivers after that week 8, week 9, they really start feeling more comfortable, and you start.
There's a learning curve.
They start to bear fruit. Yep.
There's definitely a learning curve for the wide receivers, and you don't get everybody that's going to be a Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or Odell Beckham when they first come in the league where they just tear it up. You know what I'm saying? So definitely a learning curve, but his picks are the biggest thing here. He has to hit on his picks. He has capital for that for this year, so he should go and try and make some good picks.
Yeah, well, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode, but we'll hit y'all with the next one coming soon. Let us know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, send us your team. And we'll see what's good.
You leave me in the trenches taking grenades, John.